Hi, so I'm here to do more integers, multiplications, and divisions. And if you are ever confused about, okay, why does a negative and a positive, or a positive and a negative make a negative when you're doing multiplications and divisions of integers, and why does a negative and a negative make a positive when you're doing multiplications and divisions of integers, you're not alone. You're supposed to be confused. And it is difficult. It is very hard to wrap your mind around it. And if your brain is hurting, mine too. And so some of the parts I find that I cannot really have a very clean explanation. Sometimes I have to explain it that because it's not, there are only two options, this way or that way. And if it's not this way, it must be that way. Sometimes I have to explain things like that. But in a way, when you think about it, I humans invented zeros, humans invented numbers, right? So that numbers and math in itself, they are a way for humans to understand what's going on in the world. So this is not like a perfect, beautiful, lined up thing sometimes, but there is an element that is quite magical. So let's try this. Okay. All right, this time I'm going to use number lines more than the integer tiles. Okay, here we are. Okay, and I need, okay, so let's start from the beginning. 4 multiplied by 3. Okay, so for this one, we can understand it as, I'm sure we did that in lower grade elementary school. So repeated addition is multiplication. Multiplication is repeated addition. That means for this one, you can understand it as there are 4 groups of 3s. You could do it other way around. You could do it 3 groups of 4s, but I'm going to do it 4 groups of 3s this way, this time. And that you can also write this 4 groups of 3s as 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3. 4 groups of 3s, and you have 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3. So how would you represent that on a number line? So you could always start with a 0 here, or you could call the 0 as a starting point, your base point. You start at 0 and you add 4 groups of 3s. Add, okay, sorry, I should have wrote it down. Add, this is a positive. Add 4 groups of 3s. 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3. So you add one group, second group, third group, and a fourth group. So you add 4 groups of 3s and you get to 12. So I am going to note that when I'm going this way, that means I'm adding positive integers, adding 4 groups of positive integers, and I'm going in that way. Right? Okay, so that part is good, right? And then we're going to go on to the next part. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to take away 4 groups of 3s. Okay, what does that mean? So you take away 4 groups of 3s, and in this part it gets a little tricky because when you're taking away 4 groups of 3s, which way are you going? And for this one, you are taking away, so you're going to the left. So take away, you're going this way, and you're taking away 4 groups both through. Can't talk. You're taking away 4 groups of 3s. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you arrived at -12. So look what you just did. So this is very similar to what you would do. Well, I'm going to be confused. This is going to be confusing because I'm going to erase this, right? So I just took away 4 groups of 3s. 1, 2, 3, 4 groups of positive 3s, right? Doesn't this look very much like when you're doing subtraction? If I said, okay, I would like you to do 0 minus 3, right? Then you start at 0. You take away positive 3 integers. That's exactly what I did. I took away, this is a positive 3, right? You take away positive 3 integers. That's exactly what I did, and I did that 4 times. So in a way, you could take away 4 groups of positive 3 integers. Well, I should probably indicate these are positives. You start at 0, right? You start at 0 and you take away positive 3 integers 4 times. You could write it this way as well. And next one is this one. Okay, so this means you are adding, right? You're adding 4 groups of -3 integers. Okay, so what would you do? Okay. So you start at 0, and what do you do? Add 4 groups of -3 integers. Well, add -3, we've done that when we are doing additions. So when we are adding 4 groups of -3s, you will add -3 integers. And I'm doing that 4 times, right? Because this means you can add 4 groups of -3 integers. You could always write it because repeated addition is multiplication. Multiplication is repeated addition. So you could write as you are adding -3 4 times. And of course, if you like, you could just start at 0 as well here. So you could start at 0 as well. Okay, so you add 4 groups of -3s. That means you add -3s 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? 4 groups you're adding 4 groups of -3s. And you again arrive at -12. Okay, so that part was not too hard. This is for me, these two, I can actually wrap my head around a little easier because I can think of it as 4 groups of 3s, 4 groups of positive 3 integers. Okay, I'm adding 4 groups of positive 3 integers, 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3. Great. And I have 4 groups of -3 integers. I'm adding that all up. I'm adding -3 4 times. I'm adding -3 4 times. So -3 plus -3 plus -3 plus -3. Great. Okay. So now I think it gets the tricky part that I don't think I have the perfect explanation that is intuitive and you're like, okay, I got it. I think for this one, I have to use all of the other examples to explain why this one works the way it does. I just cannot think of a better way to give you. I am sorry. I racked my brain about it. I talked to a lot of people. It's very, very hard. So I'm going to go back and just erase all of this and review what we have done so far, right? So when you are adding positive 3 integers, you went this way, right? When you are taking away negative integers, Oh, no, wait. No, we are taking away positive integers. We went this way. So this was take away. Whoa, I don't think I spelled that correctly. Take away positive integers, right? And for this one, you added negative integers. When you added negative integers, you went this way. Add negative, I'm running out of space, integers. So you went this way when you're adding positive integers. You went this way when you were taking away positive integers. And now, where do we end up? So I'm going to write this all down over here so you can see it in one go. So you go this way and that way. You have only two options for this one. You can't go you can go up, you can't go down, you can go sideways, you cannot go into this random third dimension. You have only two dimensions, left or right, to work with. Either you go left or you go right. You can't go anywhere else. So that's important. For that one, you have to go with it. Okay, so this was when you take away. Well, apparently I'm having very much of a trouble writing that. Take away negative integers. Whoa, no, I lied. Sorry, my bad. I lied. When you're taking away positive integers, right over here, taking away positive integers, positive, when you take away positive integers, you go that way, that way, that way. And when you're adding positive integers, you go this way. Right? And for this one, we observed when you are adding negative integers, you go that way. When you're adding negative integers, like the temperature dropped down overnight by 5 degrees twice. So you go -5 and -5 again. You end up at -10 degrees. So when you're adding negative integers, you go this way. Right? And so for this one, let's do it. Okay, so now you are taking away four groups of negative 3 integers. So you are taking away 4 groups of negative 3 integers. So if we look over here, when you added 4 groups of negative 3's, you added 0 plus negative 3. And if you look over here, when you're taking away 4 groups of positive 3 integers, you took away positive 3, took away positive 3, and did that 3 times. Following the example of these, following reason, because it should work the same way, you start at 0 and you take away negative 3, and you, ooh, that's not negative 3. Negative 3, and you do that 4 times, right? Because when you're taking away positive 3 integers 4 times, you take away positive 3 integers 4 times, like 0 minus 3, 0 minus 3, right? So if you're taking away negative 3 integers 4 times, you can turn this into subtraction. -3, -3. So now I'm taking away negative 3 integers 4 times. Great. That's all right. So far, my logic is happy. My reason is happy. But then it gets a little tricky. So here, now I'm taking away negative 3 integers 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4 times. When I take away negative 4 integers, which way do I go? Well, I have only one option remaining because I am not taking away positive integers. I'm taking away negative integers. That means I'm doing the opposite of this, right? So I must go right because if you are taking away positive integers, which I'm not doing because I'm taking away negative integers, then the answer must be that I go in the opposite direction. And so if I'm adding negative integers, which I'm not adding negative integers because I'm taking away negative integers, then the answer must be that I have to do the opposite. So the only way I could go is that way. So as I said, it's not as clean of an explanation as I would like because it's not. Somewhere in my real life brain, I'm not grasping it, but this is sort of like a process for elimination. If it's not left and I have only left or right as options, it must be right. I can't go left, then the answer must be that I go right. As Sherlock Holmes said, if you eliminate the impossible, no matter how improbable whatever remains, no matter how improbable, must be the answer, must be the truth. So if I eliminate the impossible, which is the left, what remains, which is to go right, must be the truth. So I am taking away negative integers. Voila. So now I take away negative 3 integers 3 times. So that means I have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and I land at positive 12. So I think for integers, when you're doing number lines and all that stuff, I think for me, I like to connect all 3 so I know I can see the connections as to, okay, when you're taking away positive integers, you go that way. When you are adding negative integers, you also go that way. So when you're doing the opposite, when you're adding positive integers, you go that way. And when you're taking away negative integers, you also go that way. So I can see this and know which way to go and how these 4 different options work in all together as a concept. So that's one way that I would like to take a look at it. And of course, I already went over the integer tiles, and if I were to do integer tiles, it's very similar. Just to quickly review, for example, if I'm taking away 4 groups of negative 3s, then I will create zeros, because you always start at 0, until I have 4 groups of positive 3s to take away. So I will do 2, 2, 2, 2, and keep on going because I can only take away 2 for now, so I need more zeros, and now I can take away that. We've done this before, but I feel that understanding that the relationship between repeated addition and multiplication, and with repeated subtraction with multiplication, that is the key, because then you can sort of wrap your head around as to what you're doing when you see 4 multiplied by 3. That means you're adding 3 4 times. And when you're taking away 4 groups of 3s, that means you're taking away minus positive 3, minus positive 3, minus positive 3, minus positive 3. You're taking away positive 3s 4 times. You're taking away positive 3 integers 4 times. For this one, you are now adding 4 groups of negative 3s. That means you add negative 3s 4 times. Negative 3 plus negative 3 plus negative 3 plus negative 3. And for the last one, you're taking away 4 groups of -3 integers. So you start at 0, you take away, that means subtract, -3 integers 4 times. So that's how everything sort of relates together. And I'll be back with divisions. Thank you so much for watching.